Hi everyone. So as promised earlier and in the Wappler community forums, I was talking about doing some video training for Wappler. The last video that I did was obviously quite some time ago, back in the Wappler beta stages. I think it was quite late beta. So I'm going to just try and show you exactly what I've created. It is for a real customer. And pretty much the brief that they gave me was that they were a fruit juice manufacturing company, and they manufacture fruit juices for multiple different suppliers. Some of those suppliers get different prices, each of them has different requirements. Some of those suppliers commission them to create fruit juice blends specifically for their actual company, and therefore they pretty much own the patent to that particular fruit juice, and they are not allowed to sell it to anybody but that particular franchise. So I'm in South Africa. Obviously, I'll try and make this a bit more internationally recognized. If you had to imagine a supplier such as Walmart as an example, they would have commissioned them to make a particular fruit juice blend, which they are then allowed to sell to Walmart, but they're not allowed to sell to any other particular franchise in America or anywhere else in the world. So the first thing that we had to deal with on this was that the backend system that they required for this needed to allow the customer to log in, it needed to allow them to order the product, and right at the end it needed to produce an order and an invoice for the customer, and last it needed to integrate with the internal accounting package that this company was using, and that happened to be Pastel. So I started off by going onto the Pastel website and doing some Google searches for what Pastel's requirements were. So if you take a look over here, this is the link that I found, and pretty much what Pastel requires is that you bring in a CSV file. The CSV file has to have a header row, and the header row obviously has to have the physical word header as the first field within there. The second field needs to have the document number, and as you can see there are constraints to this whole lot, so 8 characters minimum. The third is deleted with a yes or a space equals not deleted. It's ignored when it's importing. So I went through all these particular header row fields and made sure that when I was doing my database design, I strictly adhered to exactly what they had within there. After that, it has a detail record. So you might have a single header record with 20 detail records. The 20 detail records would be all the actual products that the franchise ordered. So you would then have product 1 as one single line on the detail record, product 2, product 3, and so forth as you go along. The trouble I sort of ran into here was that there's not an equal amount of records within the header row as there are on the detail row. As you can see here, there's 23 records in the header row and 14 in the detail row. In fact, it's actually even more than that, because they've only counted these like that, but if you look here, like number 11, they have got invoice message 1 through to 3, so they've actually got invoice message 1, invoice message 2, invoice message 3, delivery address 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you can add another 4 to that number there, you can add another 2 to that number over there. We probably land up with about 35 fields within the header row, and probably about 17 or so, if I remember correctly, in the detail record. So I'm going to go through what I've actually created and what I've sent to the client at the end of the day, and just show you how it works. So we start off obviously from a security perspective with a login page. I have used SSL on this, so we're pretty much just going to log in here. I'm going to log in as the main sort of administrator, just to show you the way through here. Keep me logged in, submit. So this should obviously take me into the system. I won't do this for now. As you can see, these products have been put here purely for testing purposes. Obviously, the main administrator doesn't really need to be able to order any products, and probably never will order products off their own system. So that side of it is literally just for testing. Then you have three different levels of user. You have the very lowest user, which is the end user, and they will only have access to the dashboard, be able to create their orders. They will have access to this user area, and the only thing they'll be able to do here is log out, view their profile, or edit their profile. The second role is pretty much somebody that we've called branch administrator. So we create a branch administrator who is able to go in. They can log out, they can edit and view their own profile. They can't edit global settings. That is purely for the internal company management to do. They cannot do anything regarding product management, because as I said earlier, I can't have them creating new products. I can't have them finding products that are specific to other franchises and allowing themselves to do orders or change their pricing, obviously. The user management, this franchise area will not be available to them. The view franchises will not be available to them. The only thing that they will have additional will be the view branches, the add user, and the view users. I want them to be able to view their own branch, and I want them to be able to add users into their own branch and view the users within their own branch. So it does limit them down. As an administrator, I can view all the branches. For them, they will only be able to view the particular branch that is housed underneath their particular franchise, and they'll only be able to add and edit users that are theirs to add and edit under the branch that they are assigned to. So as an administrator, let's go and create a new franchise just so you can see how this works. So I've added a little bit of dummy wording up here, and we start off. So add a franchise name. Let's call this Walmart as an example. Sorry, I spelled it wrong. As you can see, there is validation on these fields. In fact, each of these fields has multiple validations. As I showed you in the pastel side, everything here had specific amounts of characters that were allowed per block, what characters were allowed in those blocks. So I've had to not only limit this to letters, numbers, but I've also had to limit it down to how many characters you can physically type in here. So as you can see, I carry on typing and I just cannot do any more typing in there. So I've limited how many characters are in there. We'll select the title of the person that we're dealing with at Walmart. Obviously this would be the sort of main owner or main person that you're dealing with at the franchise level. So let's just say that this person's name is Rodney, whatever, Frank, and his email is rodney@walmart.com. You can see again the validation was incorrect until such time as it saw a valid email address. These are required fields, everything that I've put an asterisk next to. The secondary email is not required, the other email is not required, a phone number, at least one is required. So let's just put in a phone number, a franchise VAT number. Sometimes the franchise, I was asked by the client, needs to order from a franchise level, and then they take all the product and they put it in a massive warehouse and distribute it through to their branches from there. So every now and again the franchise will need the ability to create an order themselves. So we'll add this in as a franchise. Address 1 in case we are going to be sending it to them, although this address field area is really more designated around who we are sending postal invoices to, their physical location. So let's just say 21 Beverly Falls Drive, I don't know American addresses, so that's the best that you're going to get. Okay, notes. As I've indicated here, these will only be seen by Bron Pro administrators, so you can add notes in if you want. So let's just put here this is a test franchise. And then we have a status of enabled or disabled. I didn't want to allow the client the ability to actually delete records out of their database, because the database I'm creating is quite complicated, probably more complicated than it needs to be in the end of the day. But more importantly than that, it's got a lot of different foreign key fields that link things together, and it's got on update cascading and on delete cascading. I really didn't want a client inadvertently deleting a franchise, which would then automatically delete every branch out of the franchise, every user out of every branch, every order that every user's ever made, and every invoice that was ever generated, plus all their proof of payments, etc. It would be quite a disaster. So what I've done instead is I've allowed the administrator to enable or disable whatever they want along the way, which at least gives them the opportunity of going back and enabling it, or contacting me at that point and saying this has done something a little bit odd. So once that's all done, we're going to click Add Franchise. Everything turns green, as you can see, and it takes a bit of time. Successfully added new franchise, and that automatically goes away afterwards, thanks to one of the community forum members. I can't remember exactly who taught us about how to use the scheduler scripts. Once we've added that franchise, we can go and view the franchises. And as you can see, obviously I've got multiple franchises in here. The one we've just added now is a Walmart. If I had to want to go and edit that, you'll notice that there are some fields that we cannot edit, and others that we obviously can. So I've pretty much left all the fields as it was in the last one, in this particular case, because it is sort of the primary table that links to the other two tables. So you could pretty much change anything that you wanted within here and it would work. So let's just change this guy's surname because it is a bit odd. Let's call him Rodney Wappler. There we go. Okay, so that's everything there. We can save those changes. When we save them, the modal goes away, the alert shows up, it disappears, and it automatically refreshes this list. So if I go back to view edit at the moment, his last name has changed over here, and you can see that that is live. Even if we had to refresh at this point, just to make sure that that is held in the database, you can see that that is definitely done. So that's all there. And then we would need to go as an administrator and add branches to that actual franchise. So within the adding a branch area, the things that we need to know is what franchise does this particular branch belong to. So we're going to say that it's Walmart, and within the client's pastel accounting system, they already are dealing with this particular customer, and so they've already got an account number assigned to them within their pastel accounting system. So I'm just going to add in my own account number, and what you'll notice again is that it is limited. So let's say I cannot type any more after that, and obviously if I wanted to, I could have WA and then numbers, so it does limit everything down. The branch name, let's just say that this is the Beverly Hills branch. The title of the person that we're going to be dealing with at the physical branch level is going to be a married lady this time, and let's just say that her name is Jess Parker. Her job title is the orders clerk. The email address is jess@walmart.com. Doesn't require a secondary other three. I've allowed up to 10 different email fields here. It is keeping in line with what Pastel allows, but I did think that under certain circumstances there may be a need to add quite a few different email accounts in here. Quite often the orders clerk would not be the same person that is responsible for making the payments. It's not the manager. There's many other people that might want to have access to this or be emailed in on transactions. We don't need to add a landline number, although I will for this particular case. Mobile number is not needed, fax number is not needed, your delivery address. Obviously this is very important because it doesn't matter how many how many users we have within this branch. Each and every single one of these users are going to be delivered their products to the exact same delivery address. So let's just say that this is Beverly Hills Walmart warehouse 13 Beverly Hills. And we'll leave it at that. Postal address is not a requirement. Obviously you could add it in if you wanted to, if they wanted to receive post. The terms, keeping in mind that this is the main administrator from the particular company doing this, so they will know if there are terms, and I've set these according to what the different terms are from that company. So after chatting to them, they told me that some of their clients receive a 14-day account, some of them receive 7 days, etc. So I'm just going to do this 14. They have certain order number prefixes. The system is going to auto-generate a random number for an order number. However, that random number is quite short, and what you'll generally find with them is that they wanted the ability to add something before the order number, so at a glance they could tell who they were actually dealing with. So in this case I'll just do Walmart Beverly Hills. You cannot add any more to that. There's only two characters allowed within there. Notes is not a requirement. Credit limit. Obviously the client could have a particular credit limit. We don't want them to be able to add in characters, so I've made it a number field. So let's just say that the credit limit here is going to be 500 Rand in this particular case as their currency. In fact, we'll do 5,000 because Rand is not worth the same as dollars, so it does make sense in our particular country. Interest on that 14-day account, they might charge 0% interest, they might charge a particular surcharge depending on what the term is. So let's just go that it's going to be a 2% interest levy on that. The tax type of 1 is something the client told me specifically is in their Pastel accounting system, and it is always 1. So I've left it as 1, although I've given her the ability to change it to a different code number if she really wants to. The branch VAT number is obviously very important because the branch will be the end user who's going to be paying for this particular product. So let's put in that. The attainment method. Are they going to be collecting the product from the warehouse, or are they going to be having it delivered to them? The freighting method, is it going to go by courier company, road freight, or air freight? The cash sale account, yes or no? It seems like a bit of a strange thing to actually put in, considering that up here, if it were cash on delivery, it would automatically be a cash sale account. If it were terms, it would automatically then not be a cash sale account. Because Pastel Accounting decided that it needed to work this way, I pretty much had to do it this way. So she is going to have to actually choose and say, look, when the terms are 14, it's obviously a no to a cash sale. Accepts email, again, is another Pastel Accounting entity. Pretty much it's a field just to say that this client will allow you to email them or they won't allow you to email them. And once again, we have the enabled or disabled over there. The same reasons as I spoke about earlier by not deleting. Click the add branch and successfully added a new branch. All the fields have cleared out. Back to the defaults. All the validation has cleared out. Ready to add another branch within there. Can now go and view our new branch that we've just created. And there's our new branch over there. It just so happened this is ordered by A through to Z. However, obviously because I added a Beverly Hills, it just came up first in this particular case. If I go and view it, I can see that everything is here. Again, as I spoke about earlier, there are certain things that I had to take away. As an example, I couldn't allow the user at this point to have the ability to change what franchise they are from. If this user had already done 10 orders and 5 invoices and received multiple emails, etc., as far as my system is concerned, it would be quite a problem if they all of a sudden changed from Walmart to Costco or whatever it may be, something completely different. They would, in that particular case, need to go and create a brand new account. It's also good for the pastel accounting history, because obviously you can't all of a sudden have the same person, Jess Parker, who's ordered from one franchise and then ordered from another. Historically within the system, there are 2 different people with 2 different sets of people paying. So other than that though, pretty much everything else is an editable field where they can go and edit it. So let's just say that we want to change her from an orders clerk to, actually let's change her email address. Let's go Jess P. Jess Parker. Save that change. Goes away. Successfully added branch comes up and disappears. And as you can see, the reason why I changed the email address was it shows you now right away that that was definitely a change that was made. Refresh the page again just to ensure that the database is pulling in the correct information. At this point, we can then add a user. So adding a user is pretty much adding somebody from the branch itself who is going to be responsible for restocking the shelves or doing the orders or whatever it may actually be. You could have 5 different users in one particular store who are going to be taking care of this depending on the store size. So we need to start off with a franchise assignment, then we need to assign the branch within the franchise. You could have 10 branches, one in Beverly Hills, one in California, one in Los Angeles, and so this user needs to be assigned not only to the correct franchise but also to the correct branch. So if I had to click on branch at this point, as you can see there are no branches listed because I would need to first choose the franchise. So once I chose the franchise, this would then auto populate with what the branches are that are available within that franchise. Just to show you, if I had to choose a different franchise, I would have a different set of branch assignments. So under these circumstances, we're going to go with Walmart, wait for that to update, and choose our branch. Company name. When I spoke to the customer, I found that this one was a bit of an odd one. Most people within a branch will not have their own company name. However, certain of the larger franchises, it seems, hire companies that are specifically there to do their stock takes and ensure that their shelves are filled. So under those circumstances, they will actually have a company name. Again, it's not a requirement because I don't think that it's a total constant thing. In this case, let's say that it's an unmarried lady. And in fact, because this is going to be me logging in, I'm actually just going to rather make it mail, and I'll make it myself under these circumstances. And my job title there will be, no idea, shelf packer. Assume my email address. This is going to be quite an important email address because every single order that this user actually makes is going to have to go to this particular email address. And so it needs to be an email address that I actually have access to. So let's just do this. Sorry. I know it's a strange address, but it's mine. Landline number, it's not a requirement. Mobile number is not a requirement. Notes, I have put here that it can be seen by administrators, branch administrators, as well as the particular user account. The desired username for this particular person, I'm just going to use something I can remember. No, sorry. And the password. The password is hash encrypted with the SHA-256 hash encryption. And when we are building the site, I will show you how this works, as well as how to encrypt your first password, because that is what I always found to be a little bit of a tricky one, is how do you get your first password into the database already encrypted so you can actually make all this work. Otherwise you can't log into the system to get started with it, and the whole thing kind of falls apart. So you have to manually put this into a hash-256 and add your salt and get a result back that's actually going to work for you. So under these cases, because it's a shown password, I'm just going to use something I've never used before. Let's just say testing user, something like that. Okay, and then our role, we're going to say, do we want this to be another administrator, which obviously would be reserved for Bronpo physical staff? Do we want it to be a branch administrator, or do you want this person to be a standard branch user? For these particular cases, I'm just going to make it a standard branch user. In fact, I'll make it a branch administrator for now, because I will log in then as a branch administrator, and I will change my own role down to a normal user, so I can show you how that is all going to work. So let me just write down this password, otherwise I'm going to forget it. Okay, so let's add that as a user. There we go, successfully added the user. And again it disappears, and all my validations turn off, and all my form fields clear out. Next, just to show you, I'm going to view the user, and once again, let's look here. Most of these are me anyway. There I am there, the new one that I've just added. Let's just go here and say that I am the best shelf packer in this particular company. And we'll save that change. Obviously, as you can see, it disappeared. The alert came up and disappeared thereafter. And if I go back in here, you will see that obviously it's updated the database with the new data. At this point, obviously, this requires a proper administrator from the actual company in order to add your products, view your products, and manage pricing. So I'm going to go ahead at this point, because I haven't actually logged in as the new user that I'm creating. I'm still logged in as Paul Admin 2, which is obviously a proper administrative account. So let's go and add some products to this, because we know that this new user commissioned us to create some products, let's say. So we can choose whatever product code we like. Again, very limited down by pastel as to what you can put in. So I can't put in any more characters than that. not that this particular company requires it. So let's just call this APP for Apple, PIN for pineapple, FRU for fruit, and we'll say that this is a 1 liter. Okay, just as an example, that's sort of what we'd have. Under the description, I'm going to say this is apple slash pineapple fruit juice. Under the mix ratio, I'm going to say that obviously this is a concentrate, so I'm going to say that the mix ratio is going to be 1 liter will give you 4 liters, let's say. The product image. Pretty much I didn't want to allow people to type into this field, so as you can see, if a person tries to type into this particular field, it's going to come up with this error message. Please do not type in here directly. Click the select image from the library button and choose the correct image. So they can close that, they can go to select the image, they can either select one directly from here. So let's just say that okay, they need something with apples in, and that one's got pineapples in, so let's just, as an example, choose this one for now. All that's happened is that it's something that's already within the library, it's already in the correct folder, so all it's done is actually put a name within here. Again, you can't delete the name because it won't allow any form of keyboard input whatsoever. So if we wanted to add our own new file, I've added this area up here where you can obviously choose a product. So let's go here, and there's actually nothing even close here, but let's just pretend that that's a close image to apple and pineapple. We'll choose that. It puts the image name up there, as you can see, capital to start with. It's got spaces in between. It's not correct for web. In fact, this particular image is cropped to the wrong size. So what this will do is when I click upload, it will upload the image, show a progress bar of the upload. It will crop the image down, it'll scale it for me, compress it and save it into the correct folder and rename it. And obviously it'll also check for duplication, rename it if it requires renaming. So start upload. Okay, my progress bar in Safari for some weird reason didn't actually show up, but as you can see it has put it there. It might have just been so fast that you didn't see it. It was a fairly small file. I think it was something like 20k or something. So, but the progress bar is there for these purposes. Just to test this, I'm going to grab something a little bit larger. Let's take something from we'll quickly just find something here. I want something quite substantial. Okay, there should be fairly large images in here. High res, handbags. Size was 2.4 megs. That should show something on the progress. Start upload. As you can see, the progress bars now appeared, and you can actually see that it's doing something. And once it's finished, the image arrives here. So once we're happy that we've got the right image, and that was the image there that we uploaded, we click on it after it's uploaded, and as you can see, it's got the capital still, it's got underscore, underscore, underscore instead of the spaces. We choose what sort of units this is sold in. These are sold in 1 liter bottles, and you cannot buy a single 1 liter bottle at a time. So they would sell this in certain amounts. As you can see here, 6 1 liter bottles. So in general, this is going to be 6. Product notes, if the person wants to make notes on this, they can, and they can enable or disable the product. So at this point, let's add that product. And again, successfully added new product. Everything has cleared out, the image is gone, If we go to view our products, what you will see here is that we should have this new product. So apple, pineapple, fruit 1 liter, apple, pineapple, fruit juice 1 lb, which is 1 liter bottle. 1 plus 4 is the mix ratio that we chose as a concentrate. 1 is to 4. We can go and edit this. It will automatically put everything back. It's got our 1 and 4. It's split them back up, etc. So if we wanted to make a change, let's just say that this is a, let's just go underscore over there so we can actually see it. Save that change. You will notice it changes here instantaneously at that point. So that is as far as adding a product. Only once a product has physically been added can we then go and manage the pricing of that particular product, or of any products for that matter. And so under the pricing area, being the main administrator, obviously they're the only person that can get here. So I've just shown every single franchise. In this case, we're going to choose Walmart. We're going to say we want to view and edit that. And what it's done here is it has shown every single product that is within the entire Bron Pro fruit juice range. And all that it does is it says that if the price is 0, don't bother showing it whatsoever. Only once the user actually assigns a price to this particular product will it even show up. So I'm just going to, for the sake of these tests, say that this is going to be $35.50, and I will add in this cranberry one here too. Let's say that it's 40 Rand 60, and we'll add in the strawberry just so we've got a little bit more. 55 Rand 10, and let's go with this one. It's a little bit of a different one because it comes in 48 full cans as far as I'm aware, but I'm not sure if I've added it that way. Let's just do this one for now. We'll say that this is 12 Rand 50, a cheap one. We'll save those changes, and obviously those products will now be accessible to the particular user. So if I had to, okay, we obviously now finished with them there. If I had to show you, these have all remained 0. The ones that we have added have actually added with their correct pricing. So that is how that's all done. If we had to go to the dashboard at this stage, we would not see those products because we are not logged in as that particular user. So we're only going to see what the administrator can see. The only other point that the administrator only can see is the global settings. If you go within here, this allows them to change the banking account number, to change their branch code, to change their particular VAT number, and allows them to change whatever the percentages of VAT. Our country does tend to change their VAT levels every so often, and so I needed the ability to actually alter that. You can go and view your own profile. It doesn't make a lot of sense to be able to view your own profile when you are the administrator, because obviously you can get to that from the user management under the view users. However, if you are a standard everyday user, that would be the only place that you could go into to change your profile. And the main goal behind that was to allow them to change their email address as and when they needed to make that alteration. And let's log out, and we'll log back in as the new user that we actually created. So this was username Paul PS Web, and the password was testing user with a capital U. Luckily I wrote that down. We'll keep that user logged in and submit. Not now, don't need to save that. As you can see, there are the 4 products that we added into that user's load. The apple pineapple fruit juice that we made, you can see it's taken the name, it's taken the code, it's taken the units, it's added that it's a bottle, it's taken how it's packaged with the 6 1-liter bottles, it's taken the mix from what we put in, it's then taken our price that we set, which was the $35.50, it's added the 15% VAT to that particular price, it's also then taken the $35.50 again, and it has divided it down by 5 liters. So it's pretty much gone 35.50, 1 plus 4 equals 5 liters that it's going to make in total. 35.50 divided by the 5 should come up to your R7.10. So that is pretty much what that person can do. As I said, because this is a branch admin, what they are allowed to do is a little bit different to if they were not a branch admin, if they were a standard user. So they can view their profile like any normal user can do, and they can change whatever fields they want to within there. They can add a branch, which I will probably land up taking out. I don't see any need for a branch admin to actually add a branch, so that's a bit of a problem that I've just noticed. They can view branches, and once again, as I say, the only branch that they can view is their particular branch from their particular franchise. So viewing and editing over there. In fact, when I spoke to the customer, they had informed me that they wanted people to be able to add their own branches. So I wouldn't really call it a branch admin, it's more of a franchise admin who can go in and add all the particular branches within their own franchise. So even if you had to go to the add branch, the franchise assignment wouldn't show all the other franchises. This person is only going to be able to add branches within their own franchise. So it's actually correct to stay. Adding users, again, they can only add users from their particular franchise, and they will only be able to select branches that are under their own particular franchise. The viewing of users, once again, they can only view the one user that has been assigned. If there had been multiple users assigned as a franchise admin, which I'll call it now, you could view and edit any of the other people within there. So, and as you can see, the one thing that I've taken away from this particular level of user is the ability to change their role whatsoever. So they cannot actually change their role. Just to show you what a user sees, what I'm going to do here quickly, let me just log out again. I'm going to change this user's role to a normal role. Bear with me a second while I get this person changed. View the user. It is that user there. I'm just going to change them from a branch administrator to a standard user. Save that change. Log out again. Let's just log back in as them. This is all PS Web testing user. Keep that person logged in. Not now. Okay, so as you can see, we've only got a user. They can view their own profile, they can log out, and they can view their dashboard. And that is pretty much all we're going to allow a user account to do. As I said, it was more based around them being allowed to change their email address than anything else. But under these circumstances, that's how this works. So here we come up to the ordering system. So it's taken the person's name, it's taken the branch name Beverly Hills, and it's actually gone through and said before placing your first order, given a few little instructions here. So let's just say that we want to go and order 3 packs of 6 of that, and I'll then click order to that. And what's going to happen is this product removes itself, and this button then appears as a brand new button. I'm also going to take this 20-liter box over here, just because it's obviously a bit different to all the rest of the products that are 1-liter bottles. And as you can see, this one you can go up in singular increments, whereas the 6 automatically goes up to 12, 18, goes up in sixes. You cannot type into these fields, so if I try and type a 5 as an example, even though it's actually a valid number, it will come up and tell you that you are only allowed to use your up and down arrows on your keyboard, or the up and down arrows that are actually next to the field. I can't really have a person going into this and saying that they want 13 of them, because they will not sell 13 of those particular units. It has to be in sixes. So with my keyboard up and down arrows, you can see what that does. So here we'll say, okay, we want 3 of those, and we're going to order that item. This counter over here will automatically go to 2, and the third product disappears. So there are only 2 more products available to the person in order to order at this stage. For the sake of this, I'm just going to add in 1 more, and let's make it some weird amount so you can see. Okay, it's gone up to 3 now. If we click on this at this point, you will notice that obviously we've got the code, we've got the description, the units, the quantity, the unit price, the net price. The net price is literally the 35 Rand times by the quantity of 18, or the 40 Rand 60 times by the 3, or the 12 Rand 50 times by the 36, which will come up with a net unit price without VAT in it. Subtotal value is all of those added together, gets you to that. The VAT amount on that, 15% on that is that, and then that added together with that will give you the total inclusive VAT amount over there. At this point we've got a few choices. We can say, look, we want to add more products to this, so let's close it and finalize later. Or we can go in there and say, no, actually we don't want this product anymore, it's come up a bit expensive, so we can remove that. And look at the background here, you can see the product came back within that list. The 36 that you originally had set within there remains the same. Not that that was an intentional thing, that's something that just the system does that way because it's not clearing out the form values at that point. I thought that that might have been a bit scary to add in case it cleared out these form values, but for now it has adjusted the subtotal, it's adjusted the VAT amounts, everything's been correctly adjusted. Finalize the order. When you click on that, what you'll find will happen is, just wait for it. Sorry, I think my internet is going a little bit slow with everything that's going on here. Okay, so finalize the order. Successfully ordered. Confirm your order. I've made this where it doesn't actually go away automatically. I want the person to see this the whole time, that they need to check their email. The 4 products have come back, and the orange bar up here showing that there were items available to order has gone away. So at this point what we are waiting for is an email, so we should receive an email here at some point. Let's just ensure. Okay, so we receive an email over here, new order confirmation, we click on that. Okay, the email itself is a bit ugly, I think I need to get rid of this grey background over here, but I will sort that out. And pretty much it has pulled in some dynamic fields. Paul Stratum obviously came directly from there. Our records indicate that you've placed in something on the Bron Pro. It's pulled in this address here dynamically. These have been manually set to exactly what they needed to be. So the only real dynamic fields within here is that, and obviously the link on this confirm order is again a dynamic field. So at this point I would expect that person to click confirm order, and it would take them into this page. This page is not a secure page whatsoever. The client didn't care that this was not a secure page, because she said that quite often they would have situations where people without an account within the business would actually be paying the bills. So the creditors or debtors lady would be making the payment. These are not credit card payments, these are not debit card payments, these are physical electronic fund transfers that they would go into their bank, do the electronic fund transfer, get a proof of payment emailed to them from the bank, and then they would need to come here and attach that proof of payment in order to do this. And that's the way this company has worked for years upon years. And I was quite glad that they did, because honestly there's obviously no real shopping cart integration here. I didn't really want to integrate with credit cards, etc. at this point. You can see that from the dynamic URL that's been chosen with this Invoice Locator 366 up here, which obviously changes on every single thing that we do, you'll see that it's pulled in dynamic data as Beverly Hills, which is the branch, has a 14-day account with BronPro. Pretty much what this is saying is that because they have a 14-day account, we are opening up this confirm invoice button at this point. They do not need to do anything else. They can literally take a look at this, say, we're happy with everything that we see, and they can confirm the invoice, and that's all that needs to be done, because they have a 14-day account with us. If they had a 0-day account with us, or a cash on delivery account with us, this confirm invoice button would not actually be available whatsoever. So, and they would have to do this part first in order to actually get this to even come up. So just to show you how that actually works and the differences, we will go through this one. When we're building it, you will actually see the differences, but the video is getting a bit long, so I'd rather not go through it right now. So as you can see, it's pulled in all these different dynamic fields from the branch level. It's pulled them in from all over the place. And in fact, what it's actually done at this point is, just by calling up this page, it's run a custom script in the background which has made 2 different CSV files. Those CSV files are directly made through Wappler itself. One CSV file is only the header rows. The second CSV file is only the detail rows. Once this invoice is actually confirmed, it will then delete those 2 interim CSV files, and another script will run and join those 2 CSV files together, and that will then get emailed through to the owner of this particular account as my client. So we've got a few things that we can do here. We can email the accounts department. If I was not the accounts department, I could click on any of these particular emails. You'll recall that we set these emails up from the franchise level, the branch level, and the user level. So we'll just send ourselves another email. You click it, it says that it's sent. Go back over here. Let's just make sure that we receive something. And there we've received something a little bit different. As you can see, this one, for some reason, the background actually works. Considering they were made from the same template, it is a bit odd, but I'll look into that. And you'll notice that it has changed ever so slightly. So the wording now says, Mr. Paul Stratham from Beverly Hills branch has sent you this message through, and you can go and confirm the order. Please note that this person was originally sent the email notification and then resent it through to you. Obviously these addresses would be different under normal circumstances, and they could again click confirm order, and it would take them into the exact same place that we've just been in. This cannot at this point hold that it was emailed, and I don't think that it's an important thing whatsoever, so I'm not actually too worried about it. Upload payment confirmation. Because the clients in general are not always top of their game as far as knowing how to do things, what I've done is I've allowed it, well, I haven't allowed it, it's just standard behavior of the actual browser, but I've just pointed out that it might be easiest if they just go from their email package and drag the PDF that got sent to them from the bank as the proof of payment, or the JPEG, or whatever it may be, and they might want to just drag it into here. They are allowed to choose up to 3 files at this point, and no more than 3. So let's just go and add this PDF over here. and we'll view the proof of payment, verify the proof of payment, progress bar obviously, and then a new field comes up at the bottom here showing you a preview of the PDF document, and you can click on that preview. It opens up a new tab and shows you the actual PDF. Obviously I'll just grab the Dropbox quick start guide, which you can then just close. You can choose more files if you want. If you wanted to choose some JPEG files, let's just take we'll just choose something a bit different here. Let's go Dropbox, and let's say, sorry, from Dropbox, let's take something a little different, that and that. Okay, so two completely different image files. They are JPEG files. You can see it says 2 files now added, verify proof of payment. They're a bit larger as files are concerned, so they take a bit of time to upload. Once they're finished uploading, you can see we've now reached our quota limit of 3. We cannot add any more images, so that whole area has disappeared, and it's showing previews only of the files that we uploaded. These will not open in new windows. These will open in physical Lightbox style links. So they can open that or open that and view it as a Lightbox. If they open that one, it obviously opens in a new tab because the Lightbox cannot view PDF files currently. Once they're happy with everything, they click on confirm order, and all that happens is that this will now be emailed through to my client, a single CSV file with order confirmation with a link back to these particular files, and the user can go in and do what they need to do. This is a progress indicator where if the client goes in here, they can go in and see that this order is sitting at roughly 25%. The status is processed and it was updated on this date at this particular time. Obviously my client has the ability to go in and update the progress of these orders as and when they see fit. I hope that all makes sense. The text, because this has been done, has changed. The text up here has changed. So everything is very dynamic. So that's the system as it is so far. I'll see you in the next video.